Hi there, Liam O'Gogan here from the Does It Matter research project on the case study of the CSO and by extension the Data Protection Office in Ireland. This episode is essentially an open video letter which I am writing or presenting specifically to the Director General of the CSO, Padraig Dalton, whom you'll see here. So this is you, Padraig, alongside Deirdre Cullen, who's your Chief Statistician, who's also central to this issue at the launch of the Census 2011. And it relates to specifically events concerning the Census 2016. For the record, I originally wrote an email to you, Padraig, for your attention on the 12th of April 2016 at 12:08, as you'll see here. And I was responded to on behalf of your office a number of times, who confirmed that they could receive my emails and view the attachments therein. And then on your behalf, Kieran finally acknowledged that you had been advised of this material and that you had tasked him to action the item. So I'm setting that out initially, Padraig, just to establish the fact that you are cognizant of the material that I am going to address in this particular open letter to you. Central to the theme of what I'm presenting here is the whole idea of securitization of personal information and private information of citizens of this country, and particularly in relation to the gathering of personal data in the census of 2016. What you see here on the screen is the census form which was left into my house by one of your agents prior to Sunday the 24th of April. And it's quite clear on the front page here what my legal obligation as a citizen is in order to fill this form in. And I want to make it clear at the very outset that it is both my wish, my desire and my human right and my civilian right or my citizen right as a citizen of Ireland to record my information on the census and to have that recorded for posterity. The other side of this is a confidentiality that my information will not be released under any circumstances, my personal information, and you have underpinned this by signing your personal name to this for me. The essence of this message, Padraig, is that you and your organisation have broken my trust in that promise and undertaking of confidentiality. I have provided irrefutable evidence to that statement that I've made. And I find myself in the personal quandary as a citizen that while I am legally obligated to fill in this census form, I simply cannot do that as a matter of conscience and as a matter of basic intelligence, because you have given me, your organisation has given me evidence to believe that my information will not be securitized, in fact is not securitized right now, never mind for the next 100 years. To underpin my commitment to the idea of a census, I want to put up here a copy of the Census 1911, which was first released 100 years later in 2011, and this is the census form of my great-grandfather's household, who was Lawrence Tracy, who was 71 years of age at the time. And when this was released in 2011, I discussed with my late mother the contents of this, wherein she pointed out to me that it was actually her own father, Lawrence Tracy, the son of my great-grandfather, who was 23 at the time, who it's his handwriting, because his father couldn't read. So we've come a long way in that 100 years, that a man of 71 at the time would not be expected to have been able to read and relied on his son to record the census data. But this is the right that I wish to have, the right to record my census material, my information, but I need to have it securitized. And this is the trust that you and your organisation have breached. I have published online in my YouTube channel a series of videos which carry recordings of conversations with your senior officials. Two of those recordings in particular, one with the Assistant Principal Officer Val McBride and another with some senior person called Tony Downs, carry evidence that when I spoke specifically to these individuals, both of them believed beyond any doubt in their own minds that the CSO never and have never and will never release personal data. I have also published, as part of that thread of material on YouTube, the very public statements by the person on your right hand side in this picture, Deirdre Cullen, who consistently and repeatedly has stated quite emphatically that the CSO have never and will never release personal data of anybody. Now, once again, I point out Deirdre Cullen has been made cognizant, as you have, of the fact of the breach of this data in at least 2 specific areas, and has continued quite unprofessionally to fail to put the record correct, as you have, in relation to the acknowledgement of this breach. I offer as evidence this screenshot from YouTube this morning. I released the information of the 2 recordings with both Tony Downs and Val McBride to a select group of people within your organisation, including yourself, yesterday, giving the addresses of these unlisted videos, which have been viewed a number of times. So the only logical conclusion is that the people to whom I sent the information themselves, or a selection of them, have watched these videos, and therefore you are corporately cognizant of the material contained therein. Based on the illusion that both of these senior officials have in your organisation, in direct contradiction to the facts that were in front of them of these breaches, I am left in a situation that your organisation, including yourself, continues to spin, mostly for yourselves, the false and illusory belief that you securitize data and can guarantee its security and privacy for the next 100 years. I submit to you that this view by you is flawed in 2 specific areas, both in a systems base and on a systemic basis, and I wish to address both of those separately. What I've placed on screen here is a spreadsheet of a scoring matrix of the CSO enumerator job interview evaluation that I participated in. This is a document which was released to me, certainly following my having to extract, like a hen's teeth operation, data which I should have been given from day one. I wish to note here that I was the person, not your organisation, who from the outset made the caveat that I should not be given anybody's personal identifiable information. In spite of that repeated request by me, I was provided with this document. Now, the person who has actually professionally redacted this material is me, not you people. And if you take this as on any standard size screen, you will see that the data contained in those blackened areas, which was supposed to be redacted, actually exposes legible and intelligible data. What this is evidence of is of a systems failure, where you people in the CSO, whose sole business is to manipulate, to collect, to analyze, to securitize data, and whose basic tool for doing so is the use of spreadsheet technology, have demonstrated at a very senior level in your organization either your unwillingness or incompetence or incapability to redact, to securitize data in the very run-up to the census by the people who are working specifically in the census area. This is systems failure. You do not have systems, training, procedures, skill sets and monitoring, supervision to prevent this happening. This is evidence. The second evidence of systems failure is in relation to my personal data. Here is a letter which was purportedly sent to me by snail mail on the 14th of March, containing a covering letter and personal details of my exam results or interview results, plus another more voluminous detail of notes in support of these decisions, of which I am now being told the original was sent. And anyway, this material never arrived to me, and if I'm to believe the CSO that you actually did send it, then this data has also been released and breached out in somewhere in the Republic of Ireland. So now not only do we have a systems breach based on old style technology, snail mail technology, a system where you don't even seem to have a procedure for assuring that the document was sent, assuring that it was received, this document was sent without being sent by registered post, and no securitized mechanism. And from up to date, there is no report given to me of anything other than it's a mystery as where it's gone. That's the depth of analysis and professional investigation you people have carried out into the loss of my data. So on a systems basis, both in terms of old technology and in terms of, now this is pretty old technology as well, using spreadsheets, you people have failed miserably to securitize my data, and this is the people involved centrally in the census of 2016. The second flaw in your promise in relation to confidentiality is the systemic failure within your organization, which is actually probably more dangerous than the systems flaw. The systems flaw itself has problems because in the next number of years, and certainly over the next 100 years, the whole concept of securitization of data is going to change radically, so that if we believe that the techniques of today is going to secure our information, we're simply deluding ourselves. But more vital is the systemic thinking within your organization, what I call a corruption of thought process that deeply permeates your organization to the degree that your senior officials, including Val McBride and Tony Downs and others within your organisation, and no doubt Deirdre Cullen also, have deluded yourselves into believing that you people have never and will never release information. So with that flawed disposition, which seems to be ingrained as an organisational behavioural fractal within your organisation, where the same pattern of a couple of things: denial of the facts as presented to you, a collegiate circling of wagons when challenged with irrefutable fact, a response which appears to be led by Michelle Lycett on your organisation to try to do whatever she can to shoot me, the piano player, for exposing this data, and to suppress the awareness within the public that you have released such data, instead of doing the right thing, which is what I'm calling on you to do, Pádraig, as leader of your organisation, to come out front and centre, to acknowledge publicly that you have in fact breached the confidence of your own data collection process, and to try in some way to persuade us, the people, that our information is safe. Again, I need to make it absolutely clear to you, Pádraig, I have gone out of my way from the start to make sure that you were cognizant of all that was going on in this regard. Now, I submit to anybody who's watching this that if you take the data which is contained in the overall document that I have prepared and posted online in issue.com of the complete set of correspondence between myself and the CSO and now the data protection people in regards to this debacle, and if you then take the trouble of listening to some of these recordings with senior officials, the important thing is all of these recordings are legitimately recorded and legitimately produced, and the argument for that I've also placed within the data stream of YouTube. The other thing is I have gone out of my way to provide a complete data set of my communications with the CSO in this regard, and will continue to augment that data set as things evolve and as I get round to producing the rest of the recordings. If you listen to the rich data and the attitudes displayed by the senior officials in this regard, I think, like me, that you will end up having an even decreased level of confidence that these people are either honourable from a professional integrity point of view or competent in relation to securitizing your data. Finally, I'm making it clear to you, Pádraig, that you're creating a situation for me which I find particularly stressful, whereas I, as a citizen of Ireland who wants to be part of the process here and who wishes to fulfil his legal obligations to fill in my census form, and being prevented to do so simply because of your failure, your abject failure to securitize my data, and leave me constantly stressed here with the worry that as part of punishing me, an ordinary citizen trying to act in the public interest and to create awareness about this, I'm possibly going to be threatened with a fine of up to €44,440. Collection of people's personal data in our census and guaranteeing it for the next 100 years is unquestionably a matter of serious public interest. The material, the evidence that I have uncovered as a result of my own personal experience of both the systems and deeply rooted systemic failure of your organisation to act in a responsible manner in relation to my or other people's data is something that you, or I demand from you as a public servant that you get out front and stop hiding behind whoever you're hiding behind in that organisation. Come out and deal with this. From the viewer's perspective, in society we end up getting what we settle for. I personally do not settle for this. I demand better. I think it is reasonable that people who act in our name, and highly paid and highly qualified professionals, should do the right thing. Once again, Pádraig, if there's anything in this video which is factually incorrect or unfairly represents your position, I welcome you to respond in any medium in which you prepare to do, just to make it clear that I will add that response to the data set for the public knowledge and in the public interest. From Liam O'Gogan at the Does It Matter Research Project, thank you for watching.